Go ahead and call the June 13th meeting to order and open up the floor for discussion of the minutes from last month's meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes if nobody has any questions.
Second. Moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then we go right into the reports, committees and directors report.
Okay.
For Mary.
I'm going to go straight into the director's report, and I'll cover next month things that we've done with the Friends. That'll
Okay.
be after we've had they'll have their sale during Old Settlers Day at the end of this month. So it's quite a lengthy report this month. The building was power washed. We got the windows cleaned. There was a leak in the backflow preventer in the boiler room. That's been taken care of. You get a bill for that, I think $700.
Was it a lot of water or anything that could be like remediated in the room?
It was a lot of water, and the problem is, at one point, Flowtech was checking it for us. And because Combustion Mechanical took over the boilers, I don't know why it wasn't being checked. So I can call them and find out, see if they can have a department PM. But to me, it should never have happened. So, but I do need to check it too. The web client issues, I did have a letter I drafted, Chris signed it, and I will send that out tomorrow. You got the from awareness to funding report, and I kind of wanted to get some feedback from you. I think Greg had indicated on his email that he felt like we didn't need to be worried so much, or panic. I think the word he used was panic. But for me, I thought it was important to at least have a discussion of maybe we should have a meeting with you guys and Kelly and then the leadership of the library, which would be the supervisors, to talk about, okay, down the road, people don't want to fund us. What is our response? What's our plan B, kind of thing? And I'm open to that discussion if you think it's something we should look at, if you just want me to monitor it as we go. I'm trying to get your thoughts. So that's why I sent you the report to read, so you kind of have an idea of what they're saying in there.
Are schools aware of something like this or not?
Do the schools know about this report?
Well, I mean, are they conscious that there is some stirring up that maybe nobody needs libraries?
I don't know that the schools are aware of the report.
The report, no. The new school has, I think, the third of the size of a library that's going into the new building compared to the old library. It's much smaller.
Does that mean they're relying on the outside libraries or just not internet?
That I don't know. I wasn't in on that decision.
So we're used to have a library for medical and engineering books, but they are all digital.
I don't really buy books anymore because we have an internet site that we go to that we pay monthly and you get up-to-date stuff versus by the time the book's published, it's 2 or 3 years out of date.
So they're professional.
You know, better information network.
And I think it's the same with law journalists.
Yeah.
I think in schools, a lot of the stuff that the students would do in the library setting, 15 years ago, they do in their workrooms or their classrooms now because the information is online there.
Or a lot of the classroom sets were books, whatever they were reading in class. Those turned into classroom books, from the line item from the library to the class. Is what they did a lot.
So for this library, we're doing all we can to stay up with that trend. And the library building itself has lots of other uses besides.
Correct. I think, one of the things that they talk Right, but that's just it. I want to be able to adapt in time to say, you know.
So when you looked at the report, what was the part that scared you or you shocked you as to, was it?
The opinion of the fact that they don't think that libraries are necessary for children.
Oh, well, now this is statewide though, right?
This is,
Or
that's a national report, right, and it's
Yeah.
30,000 and plus. I mean, we could talk about the report itself, but that's the other thing. Do we go ahead and pay for something similar to this to be done locally so we get the temperature of the voters here? I mean, you know, that might be
That was a thought I had.
the best place to start.
Want to look at some point, on doing some primary research for our area, or focus groups, a real cross-section.
The part that,
What's it gonna make us do that we're not doing now, though? I mean, what's the return gonna be on doing that? I mean, we already know there's a problem.
I want to know locally what the feeling is for libraries, because in this report it says that public opinion is softening. Where they'd always been staunch supporters of libraries, people are waning with that support. And I can understand, in my report I shared with you some of the situations that I know that have happened, that people aren't getting the service they expect from their local library, and they aren't coming to us. And I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want 5 years from now us to be taken by surprise if something should happen. Now, the other thing is you have to remember the bond isn't going to be paid for until February of 2024. So there's that piece too. But yes, I'm concerned. I think we need to address some of this situation, or at least have a plan, at least be able to say to taxpayers and the people that we're accountable to, hey, we were aware of this. These are the steps we have in place, and this is what we think we'd like to do should that happen. I mean, face it, it's a beautiful building on beautiful property.
yes, and that was one of the things that Greg had left in his notes for the email, was definitely focusing on partnership with the Community Foundation as a plan B for funding the foundation.
Why don't you put a big ad in the paper, say the whole page will pay for it. Then on October the 6th, we'll take all the books out here and burn them all. And see what kind of response people get. See the community really come up and say,
Okay, so John wants us to have a book burning
No,
party.
no.
just to get there, are you serious type of thing? You'll be coming and walking in here every day saying, what are you gonna do that for?
We know how many people come into the library and how many people check this out based on the population of this that are paying taxes to do that. So has that, we have statistics now if that's increasing or decreasing the population we're serving versus how many people are using the services. If that's increasing, we look at
The demographics of it, I mean, from teaching that part, these kids that are in high school now will be taxpayers in 5 years or so, or shortly after leaving school. Their willingness to take hit media or anything digitally, it's extremely strong. However, they also have a desire for those tangible books. And those, once they're in senior year or a little past that, there's a larger desire for a tangible book to read than on a device, because they want to unplug it from watching. So in that aspect, I don't know how that's going to shift. I really don't. But I do believe this is a safe place where we can mix technology, but also allow people to unplug.
Do we have any idea, of our main users, our cross-section, or what demographic do we serve the most? I know they talk, in hear about the different market segments or the different segmentation of the people that use the libraries. And, you know, some of them were the, you know, ones who use the library but can't afford to pay a lot to use it. And I'm wondering if we knew what our mix of patrons were as far as their demographics.
If you're using circulation statistics and you're just looking at those, our children doubles fiction and nonfiction, that adult. Adult nonfiction is cratering. It's been going down about 200 books per month. So people are not, adults are not checking out nonfiction books from the library. Fiction is going down too. Now, all of that being said, downloadable audio, downloadable video, downloadable ebooks is all trending up. So, and our original content, meaning our classes, our videos, when we do the interviews with history, I want to call them the old timers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the veterans, those are being viewed. Our board meetings, and we count all of that, those numbers are, I mean, it's 10,000 a month. That's really great for a population of 15,323.
And those views don't have to come from,
The service area,
The service
no.
area.
Yeah, it's outside. It's over the, I mean, everybody's looking at those.
Well, I wonder how much the recession had to do with this. They did this in 2008, and those weren't the best of times for the next few years after that, and it's probably made people a little less supportive on any kind of tax. I mean, it's, wages haven't recovered, like, I mean, it's pretty good right now, but still the wages aren't what you would expect if more people are employed. But it's still gonna soften people's views on supporting any kind of tax increase. Along with the technological stuff,
well,
I
you're
mean,
not,
that's undeniable.
we're not talking about a tax increase. We want to at least keep
Yeah.
the funding that we have.
Correct.
You would like to get together with Kelly to go over this? And
What I thought it would be great to have a brainstorming session, but if you're not feeling like it's as urgent as I am, I'm fine if we hold off on that. We could even have Kelly come and just talk to the supervisors and just kind of get their viewpoints or whatever. I can honestly tell you that I feel like, let's put it this way, I went to a meeting with other library directors, and I never thought of myself as progressive, but I am when I'm compared to my peers. I truly am. We're ahead of the game, above and beyond. So, as far as that goes, I think we're positioned very well. I am concerned that when they're working on City Hall, and they are not able to have their public meetings there, that they chose other locations to do those meetings other than our building. I was a little concerned about that. However, Greg made a really good point in his email to me that they already have some rooms set up to do the taping
and they're all within walking distance.
and they're all within walking distance.
Well, did you consider that the nights that the meetings take place? I mean, I went kind of cross-checked between what rooms were available here and the dates that they needed, and here we're full on most of them already. So they may have looked to see if they could come here and everything was full.
Right.
I mean, because it was all like 6, I mean, theirs are all in the evening.
They're
and
usually-
it was
yeah,
6
right.
to, you know, and I just picked out some of their dates and cross-checked rooms that were available, and there were none for those dates. And so, you know, I don't.
Right.
I mean, one of them, I have a meeting next week for the housing authority, even with my community foundation. Yeah, I think maybe they, you know,
Well, the county
wanted, or
building.
would have wanted to if they were available.
County building is very accessible. It's right across the street. You have to go in.
Yeah, some of the groups.
But
Oh, I agree. but-
We wouldn't have charged them, right?
No.
Because we don't charge other.
But we are a great facility, and all of that being said, the mayor did hold his state of the city here, you know. But I was just, it was probably a combination of reading that report and then noticing all that, and then I'm
You're
prepared.
paranoid now.
And I look at the staff and I'm open to new ideas, but I don't know what else we can be doing. And our numbers, as far as the summer reading program, I don't know if you looked through the report from the Children's Department or Youth Services, but they went outreach over 2,000 students. And then Beth had 1,290. So in 1 month alone, we reached 3,300 students. I mean,
How are they getting to that point where it's coming?
they are. On Monday, their
I know,
first.
but why?
Because, I think there's a couple things. Well, because they saw them at school. The Y is really participating with our programming, so that's how they, but,
I think the parents, or some of the parents are behind that, basically.
okay.
They know, and if they're behind that, I would think they would be behind the library as a whole. So if they're pushing their kids or wanting them to read, I mean, there's your nucleus of people in the future, maybe they'll say, the Y's got it, or it's, why do I keep saying, libraries got to stay here, and we need the libraries. And on the other hand, I think the thing get to a point where there's a question of financing, I think industry will come. I think they'll step in and make it.
Okay.
So who would make the decision that,
That's how
that
libraries start.
they're not gonna support the library financially? It would be the county government, right? Or the. Who
It
would
would be the
decide that they're not
township.
gonna give it, not gonna pay as?
Well, the voters would decide, and I'm not sure how that.
How did the, yeah, how
How
did the
you
voters
would, because
decide?
I don't know, I'm not familiar with how other libraries have stopped, providing service. I would have to check and see what libraries have no longer provided service and how that one came about.
Well, it's not something we want to get on the ballot. Are you in favor of funding the library?
No. Well, I am, all of this being said, when I went to one of the commissioners' meetings, and because I had to ask for Greg's term to be extended another 4 years, and after I was done, I went, and one of the women that was at the meeting asked me, she goes, I live in Jefferson Township, and I'm on library service. And I explained to her how I thought the process would go and whatever, and she said, well, why doesn't Peabody just go ahead and be the library for everyone else? And I said, well, nobody's asked me to check into that, but it would take us having to request and place on the ballot in all the unserved townships if they want to pay for library service. And I'd have to figure out what that process was, but this is the first time I've had anybody come to me and ask me to not be county-wide, so to go it alone, so to speak, but to serve the other townships.
I know it was up to the trustees.
That's what I thought the trustees killed it
Yeah.
back in the
They're the ones
90s.
like Union out here.
In Thornton, or, that would,
Yeah, but the vote.
because that was,
Or their advisory board.
Oh, Wheeler out there,
Wheeler,
he's down in the library.
I think if you want to have library service, and I can double check this, it goes to a resolution on a ballot for the
Does it now?
voters to decide in those townships.
So you're saying who would
That must have
initiate
changed.
that?
because, we always
It would
talked
be
about
kind
the
of like
trustees
the
being
school.
against it, and
But
maybe
you
they
could
took it
go
off the
to
ballot or
the,
something.
and get it put on the ballot?
I don't know, I have to find out. I don't know what the process is, but I know that that's what they did at Smith and Green.
Right.
20, 30
So,
years.
I mean, the people would have to know how much of the tax is gonna go
I thought
up,
they were getting rid of the trustees.
before
which-
they would go.
That was
But
discussed,
it-
the government to do away with a lot of the local. And I don't understand.
Townships.
Well,
That was clear back in the early
'90s.
90s when they opted out.
And it was my understanding that the original agreement was that all the townships, well, other than Cleveland, library service with us, or wasn't that the case? Because I wasn't here.
I think that's almost before me, because I got
Okay.
it just as it was already over.
Okay.
Pretty much, they'd already opted out. Everything I heard was about the trustees being against it, and I don't remember it ever being voted on.
I think they didn't know what to do.
It would take, I would need to do some homework on it. But it
I
was
think
my
you should just
impression.
relax for a while.
Okay, I'll relax for a while. I can do that. Okay. Greg gave me some names in the email he sent me about the Lawyers and Libraries program. The meeting rooms. I want to let you know they're being used, but we're not making as much revenue as we have in the past. And I think it's because we have more and more government entities using us for our training programs, which may take up more space more often. I'm just letting you know about that. And then I left you that whole big long speech about my experience with some of the interviews of Master and Library Science students, new directors, and the trends that I'm seeing. So it makes me a little concerned for the future, you know, especially when I retire, although it might be perfectly fine, but the caliber of the librarian coming out of schools right now is, at least from what I've seen, they need more social skills and more practical experience in libraries.
IBC and the vet tech stuff, they just, if you have money, you're in. Yeah. Some of them have no hope in the world of ever getting a job. It's just,
Did you ever hear back
it's
from
thievery.
What school was it that you said?
I mean, AUI, I have
They
that.
never responded.
Closed down.
Yeah. So, are you letting us know something, or just out in the future at some point?
Oh, I'm not telling you I'm retiring, if that's your concern.
Yeah.
I'm not planning. I had hoped I would work till I'm 70, but realistically, I'll probably retire when I'm 66. So,
Then, part-time then, or?
I didn't even consider that, Chris. So,
Why?
but that's a ways off. I'm 61, so I plan on being here for another 5 years. Does that help?
Well, it's understanding as to why the 5-year number was, you put that one in there. I was just curious.
Okay. I told you robotics is doing really great. And we did get an additional distribution of $36,000 of catch-up money. So I wanted you to be aware of
We
that.
can use that, what account, but just for the word.
I just put it with catch-up, in the catch-up group, and generally we use that to offset the cost of payroll every month. So, I'm gonna meet with, Darla and Linda and I are gonna go meet with Rachel tomorrow. We're gonna go to Cherubusco to look at their square. If anybody's gone to Brew Hall and purchased anything, that's square. And I think it's time we look at getting something like that for the library. It's not that often during the day that we get requested for credit card, but we do get it. And face it, it's probably the way that it's been for 10 years, and we probably should have had it for 10 years now. But I think Square provides a really good option for us.
A lot of farmers markets use that to
Mhm.
check.
Nice point of sale.
Yeah,
Almost nobody pays with cash or check.
exactly. And you guys, I'm assuming you're okay for me to go ahead and
Yes.
I don't like to carry it.
Amanda Brennan resigned her position. She's going to work more hours at the butcher shop she works for in Huntington. She's been told she will always be off by 4 and never have to work nights and weekends, and so. Good for her.
Well, she gets free samples here too, right? She wants.
You get a discount on me.
The student cards, I do need to have a motion if you are fine with us allowing people to get a student card from date of purchase, 1 year from the date of purchase, as opposed to waiting and doing it from August 1st to July 31st.
I think that is good.
Is it hard to keep track of or anything? That's the only downside I saw.
No, it isn't. You just put that date in the computer when you sign them up for the card.
only people that sign
yeah,
up
you
the
want
first
to sign up for
day
2
and get
months.
their money.
Yeah. I would make a motion that we go ahead and extend it from.
I'll second that.
Absolutely.
All those, well, Greg said, yeah, he was in favor of it as well, but all those in favor of changing?
Is that still
Okay.
$5? Is that what
Yeah,
they
it's
pay?
$5.
To 12, yeah.
Okay, I went through the report, but I've got some things I need to talk to you about, so I'll try to.
That,
Sarah had her baby last week. Her name is Ruhama, 9 pounds, 14 ounces. So Sarah's on maternity leave. The Star Financial checking account we talked about last month when Dave came in. And that account, that option that we have is going to go away. I don't know when it is going to go away, but it is going to go away. So we're going to lose that business-free account. And Greg had asked me if we could look at other banks, and we cannot. And the reason we can't is because of the bond. So I looked and I found the documentation. Yeah, this is all my bond information. Library depository accounts. Library will maintain its primary depository accounts with Star as long as the bond is outstanding with Star. So we need to stay with Star until February 2024.
Is there, are we losing money when they change this, or what is the problem?
now there's a fee we had to pay.
What'll happen is we'll have to pay a fee. We'll have to pay a fee. We have a business account that doesn't earn any interest, and we have a preferred liquidity account that does incur interest. We'll have to go to one account, and we would get charged, but according to the documents he gave to us last month, it would basically be a wash.
No,
or
we pay some money, some hundreds of dollars, but we would get twice that back in the interest in the account.
Right.
But we do have to pay a fee, and the interest can go up and down, but there is a fee.
Is it a fluctuating fee, or?
No, it was a standard fee.
How much?
1.25, I think.
I don't know those documents. Do you remember what that was, Chris?
No, I want to say it was $300 to $600, I thought, something like
For
that.
a year or a month? Or
For the year, I thought.
For the year.
What I can do, Don, is send those documents to you again at the next meeting. I mean, it's nothing we have to take care of today, but I wanted you to be aware that that choice is gonna go away. I don't know when, but it is.
He did say that is going away, and then we'll have to, right now we're grandfathered in,
Right.
but any changes that are made, I
So just FYI on that.
didn't mean to say those numbers and get you the emails, but those are just the ones that popped in my name.
I think you're really right. I mean, they seem right. But I didn't bring that stuff with us. Okay. We talked about the request for a referendum on the ballot for PPL to become the library for unserved townships. I received, Megan Kmeyer, she's an MLS student, she came in and interviewed me and looked at our space and did this really nice report on how the library could have a maker space within the existing building that we have without doing the unfinished area, putting it up in the teen room and the associated costs. I've given this to Beth and Mary to look at, Mary Graber to look at, and we haven't really talked about it, but I'm just gonna, if you wanna look through it, you can. It was really kind of interesting. It is, part of it is a work of fiction, but it was a homework assignment,
Yeah,
or,
that's
you
a
know,
project.
so, yeah, and she got an A on it. She did really well, she got 100 points, so she was really happy about
I
that.
have a question.
Yes.
That's a student that's going for their MLS, is there any way that we can intern any of those to help alleviate some of that new director problem that you were foreseeing?
OJT.
It's a very good suggestion, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I thought about doing internships here, and I have that worked out with IUPUI, but we've never gotten anybody to show an interest to, no, that's not true. We've had 2 interns and they worked with Chrissy Whitten in technical services.
Right. Or
But I've never done a director, but that's a really good idea.
assistant director or something, intern.
That is a really good idea. Director internships. Yeah.
Those
Thank
people
you.
that have their, or are getting it, yeah.
Really good idea. Okay.
That's what happens when you're outside, breathing fresh air like this.
Right.
Beth Bloom is going to be taking Lori Styles' place in September when Lori retires. So Beth Bloom will be our new trustee on our board. The insurance rates are going to go up about 5%, and I wanted you to know that. And I didn't know this, but I have to have 70% of the people that are eligible for insurance to have insurance. If we go below that 70% threshold, I believe Pete can drop us. So I'm just letting you know, right now, we're okay. But there's 7 of us to get insurance. It's not very many out of 9 full-timers.
You're saying, I'm sorry, they require that at least 70% of your staff
Of eligible employees are on the plan.
That's a decision that you make once a year. So when if 3 or 4 people decide not to, we won't have much time to.
If one person decides not to, almost you're a little 70.
Now, they consider eligible employees also to be those employees who could have insurance but have it with someone else. So I am on my husband's insurance, so I'm still considered eligible and okay. And then Darla Lepley is the same. So you're right, though. You're right. We lose 2, we're going to be below that threshold. So I'm just letting you know that. Okay. I looked at the Cetera account, which is the money that's in that 13-month CD. And I'll send this down to you, Margaret, so you can see the number. The balance is $100,451.69. So the account is okay. Our current card holders, 4,026, which is about 26% of the population of card holders. And we keep getting new card holders every month. I think this past month it was 39 or something. Maybe the month before it was 60. So we're not going to get any TIF money, which we haven't gotten TIF money in a long time, but I received notice from Greg's law firm about it. So I thought I'd let you know that. Do you have a question? Okay.
Tell me, say again, what was the percent of the population that has a library card? Is that
26%.
And that's of the townships that we serve.
Correct.
26% of the population. Is that adults and children?
Yes.
Students as well?
Yes. CERC was down for May, the month of May, but it's up for the year almost 7%. Foot traffic in the building is up 1,330. Stephanie Davis. Stephanie Davis is library director. She worked for Wells County Public Library for over 30 years. She is looking into offering like contract services to libraries, and she's willing to have us be her first library. What I'd like to do with Stephanie is actually have her help me with the renovation of the upstairs with the carpet replacement and the new paint, and I kind of want her eye on the shelving, if we should redo the shelving and kind of open that up so it doesn't look so institutional and it looks more like a reading area or a bookstore. Because we would be the first people that she would be working with, she would charge us for mileage and expenses for her assistance. So I'm just putting that out there.
Only mileage and assistance?
Expenses, yes.
Not hourly,
She's working
not,
for free.
okay.
So I'm just putting that out there because I know that I could use the help with some of this stuff. I really could.
And she's very experienced.
She's very experienced.
You have known her
Yes.
for a while?
She was my mentor, actually.
Well, okay, okay.
So, from Wells County? Yes. She's retired now. But I'm just putting it out there. We can talk about it next month more fully, but I'm just letting you know I really like to do that. So, you can use her expertise. Okay, so the other day I had two panicked, not attorneys, staff members and said, Mary, you gotta come out, you gotta come out, you gotta see this. I'm like, okay. So we went over to where the tiller is and all that mulch is, over by the sidewalk, and there was a snapping turtle, this big, laying eggs in our mulch.
That's good, right?
So in 90 days, we'll probably have a bunch of babies, I'm hoping. I don't know, Mike, will they survive being where they're located? After all this happened, I thought, why didn't I go out there and film this and put it on Facebook? That would have been really cool. I think kids got a kick out of it. But you know how aggressive snappers are. Oh my gosh. So, and then today Linda came in and she goes, Mary, there was another turtle out there laying eggs. I'm like, really? What is it about that area that we're having turtles lay their eggs in the mulch?
How big are
So-
yeah.
So-
How big are the turtles?
The one she saw today was little, but the snapper was big. But it's 90 days, I think, right, Mike?
I think,
So
I
something
don't
like
eat
that.
much turtle stuff anymore.
And then
CC called us, one was hit by a car and they wondered if we'd come out and put it to sleep, and I thought, I'm not even sure how you would do that.
Well,
Do it
anyways.
yourself.
And then there's snakes. Apparently Linda ran into a snake on the way to the bank, so I'm walking out there. But you know what, we're on the wetlands. It's gotta come out. The other thing I need to let you know, for whatever reason, the electrical outlets out on the pillars in the back are not working. And I contacted John Kissinger, he came out and he's trying to work to get on that. Okay, I've thrown a lot at you. You guys have any questions about any of this?
That was just the director's report, right?
That was just the
Yes.
director's report, but we're almost done. Because all we have is the claims, and then I need to have a executive session.
The web client letter approval, what was that?
I actually wrote a letter. Oh, okay, so we're writing a letter to Jacob Spear, who's the state librarian, expressing our concerns about web client.
Okay, and that's the one that they're going to go to.
In August, we're supposed to stop
That was
using
investment.
staff client and only use web client, but we want that date moved back to work out.
I think
Because,
the,
yeah.
kids would rather use it.
It's so common
That
that
wasn't
you're doing the
something
right
we
thing to
needed.
give them feedback, it's just not ready.
That wasn't ours.
There's things that need to be fixed. And then I've inherited many systems that went in before they're ready, and it just takes a lot of sweat to get them usable, and a lot of frustration. So, yeah, if you can delay that while they
Try to work out the kinks.
work out the kinks, yes.
Even when I do upgrades, I wait for a month or so until they fix the upgrade.
You don't want to be the first one. It just, sometimes there's reasons why you have to do that. They may have another reason why they have that day or something else going on that other won't be available, or,
It'll cost more.
yeah, their contract's running out, or, but you're right to bring that up and say it doesn't mean it won't happen anyway. That's pretty common thing.
Okay, that's it. Except for we gotta pay the bills or something.
Well, I had a note somewhere, but I think we talked about it. So now I remember what it was. On the point of sale system is it specifically that brand or just a brand like that for the upstairs taking credit cards?
There's an app you can download onto your phone that you can do a point of sale.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't gonna do like a phone or anything. I just was gonna, I'll have to see if Square provides it, but I think we just provide our own iPad and then we set it up, or maybe they send us, I don't know enough about it. I'll find out from Rachel if she just purchased an already customized, which I imagine it would be, iPad.
Right.
Is basically what it is.
We have this one for our phone that plugs in the top. I've never used it, but everybody's always there,
Yeah, well,
but
that's
the
what I
credit
was,
card company provided it for us.
yeah, that was what I was wondering, if we're going specifically with that brand or any others, or just,
I kind of wanted to use Square mostly because the other libraries in our area that have it absolutely love it.
Okay.
And the fees
So
they
from a
felt were
recommendation
reasonable.
that-
Yeah, so it's recommendation from other libraries. And the fact that Cherubusco has it, we don't, I thought, okay. We need to get it.
And people are
yeah,
familiar
no, it
with
is, I was just
Right,
wondering.
do you ever get a
specifically
copy
that
of
brand.
Real Call? That's what they
But I
have.
was,
You pay cash. Okay. But they have Square.
but yeah, I
All right. So is Mary, is that all you have?
Correct, that is all I have.
So I'm going to open up the table discussion for monthly claims.
The 45,000, that's for the book.
Yes,
Okay. Is that just a down payment?
yeah, it's half the cost.
Do we have a start date?
yeah.
July
That-
23rd,
July 23rd is the start? Okay, 'cause I
and if
had-
they can get to us sooner, they will.
We
We've
did
been
get,
having rain, so.
yeah, we did get something in writing about the labor and
Yes.
everything
Mhm.
for the light.
I have it in the email he sent, but I also have it in the document that I sent.
That is half.
Anything else? I'll make a motion, we pay the monthly claims.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of paying the monthly claims?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And is there anything else that needed attention? Because we did not need a motion from the board about the letter unless anyone wants to put something in the minutes for board support.
I spoke.
Okay, all right. Okay. And we do have an executive session
That's
following,
correct.
so,
Do we need to adjourn?
yeah, that is the last thing on my list.
I would make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion and second for adjournment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
All right.